The deep ocean does not begin with a line. There is no edge, no warning, no moment where the familiar world suddenly ends. Light simply fades, colors disappear, sounds change, pressure builds, and life begins to behave differently. More than 70% of Earth is covered by ocean, yet most of it remains unseen, unexplored, unfamiliar, not because it is far away, but because it is hostile to everything we are. Down here, sunlight does not reach. Temperatures hover near freezing. Pressure is strong enough to crush steel. And still, life exists, but it does not follow the rules we know. Near the surface, life feels normal. Plants use sunlight. Animals hunt what they can see. Movement is fast. Energy is plentiful. But as you go deeper, those rules slowly fall apart. At 200 meters, sunlight weakens. Photosynthesis struggles. Vision becomes unreliable. Predators adapt. Eyes grow larger. Bodies become slimmer. Movement becomes careful. This still feels familiar, but it won't for long. At 1,000 meters, sunlight disappears completely. This is the twilight zone, a place without day or night, where time feels unclear, where shadows mean nothing. Here, animals become transparent. Organs shift, bones thin, muscles weaken, not because these animals are weak, but because strength is expensive, food is rare, energy is precious, every movement must matter. So life slows down, heartbeats drop, growth becomes slow, reproduction becomes rare. Nothing rushes in the deep ocean, because rushing wastes energy, and wasted energy means death. But the deeper you go, the stranger the logic becomes. At 2,000 meters, pressure is 200 times stronger than at the surface. A human body could not survive here. Lungs would collapse, blood would fail, bones would break, yet fish swim calmly. Soft creatures drift peacefully. Delicate bodies pulse in the dark. They are not resisting the pressure. They have adapted to it. Their bodies contain no air, no empty spaces, nothing to crush. Evolution did not make them stronger. It made them softer. And this breaks one of the first surface rules. Strength is not always an advantage. In this darkness, eyes begin to lose their importance. Some animals abandon vision completely. Others grow eyes so sensitive they can detect the faintest glow. Because light here does not come from the sun. It comes from life itself. Bioluminescence. Cold light. Silent light. Chemical light. It flashes. It pulses. It drifts like stars underwater. Fish use it to hunt, to hide, to confuse, to communicate. Some use light as bait. Some use it as camouflage. Some glow constantly, without a clear reason. Energy is scarce here. Light is costly. And yet, it is everywhere. Which raises a quiet question. Why would life waste energy creating light in total darkness? Then there is size. On land, large animals dominate. Power controls territory. Strength means survival. In the deep ocean, size makes less sense. Some creatures grow enormous. Giant squids, massive jellyfish, strange animals larger than a human. Others remain tiny, almost invisible, ghost-like. There is no clear pattern. Because food does not arrive regularly. It falls from above, slowly, randomly. Dead plankton, sinking fish, whale carcasses. Sometimes there is abundance, sometimes nothing for months. So evolution takes risks. Some animals grow large to store energy. Others stay small to survive long starvation. Both strategies work. Both fail. There is no perfect design here, which breaks another rule. Evolution does not create balance in the deep ocean. It experiments. Look closely at their shapes. Bodies with no clear symmetry. Faces with no obvious front. Creatures that look unfinished. Mouths larger than their bodies. Teeth too big to fit inside jaws. Stomachs that stretch endlessly. This is not aggression. It is preparation. When food appears, you eat everything. Because you may not eat again for a very long time. These animals are not violent. They are patient. Patient in a way that feels unsettling. And then there is behavior. When threatened, many deep-sea animals do not flee. They do not fight. They do not chase. They stop. They freeze. They drift. They disappear into stillness. Because movement attracts attention, and attention attracts predators. So stillness becomes survival. Some animals allow parasites to live inside them. Some float motionless for hours. Some pretend to be dead. Because fighting costs energy, and energy is life. Here, survival is not about winning. It is about lasting. As we descend further, for 1,000 meters below the surface, we reach the abyss. A place colder than Antarctica, darker than space, older than most ecosystems on Earth. Here, change happens slowly. Some species have barely evolved for millions of years. Not because they are perfect, but because change is dangerous. Risk is costly. Mistakes are fatal. Time stretches here. Life stretches with it. Everything feels ancient. And still, this is not the end. Because in the deepest parts of the ocean, life does something impossible. It survives without sunlight. At hydrothermal vents, boiling water erupts from the seafloor, filled with toxic chemicals, extreme heat, crushing pressure, conditions that should destroy everything. Instead, they create ecosystems. Worms with no mouths, crabs with no eyes, bacteria that feed on chemicals, not sugar. Here, the sun does not matter. Life runs on chemistry alone, and that quietly breaks the final rule we believed was universal. Life does not need light. The deeper we look, the more rules disappear. The more familiar biology feels unreliable. The deep ocean is not a harsher version of our world. It is a different one, and we have only just begun to understand it. In the deep ocean, even birth follows unfamiliar rules. Near the surface, life begins in predictable ways. Eggs, larvae, carefully timed seasons. Below, none of that is reliable. Food does not arrive on schedule. Temperatures barely change. Darkness never ends. So reproduction slows. Sometimes dramatically. Some deep-sea animals reproduce only once in their entire lives. Others wait years between opportunities. Many release eggs and sperm into the water, hoping, by chance, that they meet. There is no guarantee, only probability. And in a place where energy is scarce, probability is a dangerous strategy. Some species take an even stranger path. In certain deep-sea fish, the male is tiny, barely recognizable, often incapable of surviving alone. When he finds a female, he bites her, and never lets go. Over time, his body fuses with hers. His organs disappear. His identity fades. He becomes a living reproductive organ, not out of cruelty, not out of dominance, but because finding another partner in the deep ocean may never happen again. This is not romance. It is survival, stripped of comfort. Even aging behaves differently here. On land, fast growth is rewarded. Early reproduction, short lives. In the deep ocean, the opposite is often true. Some species grow slowly, painfully slowly. Decades pass, sometimes centuries. The Greenland shark, living in cold, dark waters, may live for more than 250 years. Not because it is special, but because slow metabolism reduces damage. Because nothing pushes it to hurry. Here, time is not an enemy. It is a resource. Movement, too, is redefined. Near the surface, speed matters. Chase, escape, outrun. Below, speed is inefficient. Muscles are weak. Bodies are soft. Many animals barely swim at all. They drift. They float. They wait. Some species move only when necessary. Some conserve energy by barely moving for days. This stillness is not laziness. It is strategy. And yet, predators still exist. But they hunt differently. Instead of chasing prey, they wait for it to come close. Instead of speed, they rely on surprise. Large mouths, expandable jaws, sensitive sensors. When opportunity appears, they strike once, and then return to waiting. But perhaps the strangest rule of all is how the deep ocean treats failure. Near the surface, a mistake can be fatal. A missed hunt, a wrong season, a single injury. Below, failure is slow. Animals do not die quickly. They fade. Starvation stretches for months. Weakness grows gradually. Life dims instead of ending suddenly. This creates a quiet pressure. Not panic, not fear, but endurance. As humans explore deeper, we bring our own expectations. We look for patterns, for symmetry, for logic we understand. But the deep ocean resists this. It operates on patience, on scarcity, on chance. It rewards softness over strength, waiting over speed, adaptation over dominance. And that may be the most unsettling truth of all, because it suggests something uncomfortable, that the rules we believe are universal are not. They are local, temporary, surface level. The deep ocean does not care about comfort. It does not care about efficiency. It does not care about beauty. It cares only about one thing: continuing, and it will reshape life in any way necessary to achieve that.